Now, you yourself have displayed great versatility throughout your career. You mentioned Chip Kelly, where you all of a sudden found yourself as a linebacker. So when you think about the versatility you've shown through the course of your career and how you've had to change and adapt to different head coaches, you're going to have to do that again now with Jonathan Gannon as your new defensive coordinator and Nick Sirianni as your new head coach. What have you heard about now your defensive coordinator and your head coach, your new head coach to this point?
Just the core values he's gonna go by. Just with the head coach, I haven't talked to Gannon too much about. He's just excited to get me in, and he got some stuff that he want to show us when we can. Once we go virtual, starting next month, and I think that everything. Man, I'm excited for them just being excited. They look like they just want to gain our trust, and obviously that's what we gotta gain together. And so you just got to get people that's bought in. I'm gonna lead the best I know how, by example, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit too, like I always do. But I know, man, I'm just excited because we got a young group, and we got a lot of changes that's gonna happen in the building that I'm excited for.
Yeah, have you talked to Nick Sirianni yet?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I talked with him more about the core values of what he's trying to, put out there for the team, and what he goes by on a daily basis. And then, for me, it's just trying to let him know that I'm all in, and I'm trying to relay his message as much as he's telling me. As soon as he tell me, I'm able to, do what I can do with the team to let him know, so we can all be on the same page.
Great. Where were you when you found out that Doug Peterson would not be returning as your head coach?
I was in Philly. I stayed in Philly. Just bought a place out here, and so just making it home. And hopefully, when I'm done, be either doing something with the Eagles, and then eventually doing something with you doing, because I know I want to try everything. But I do want to take some time to spend with the family, make sure that I don't rush in it too quick before I get back to work.
Mm-hmm. What was your reaction when you found out Doug wasn't going to be back?
I was really more so just like I was shocked. I was shocked because you just heard them say some good stuff about him, being here and all that stuff, and then it just went sour real fast. But I know Doug's gonna go somewhere and show what he could do, like how he do. But I think that the worst part for him was COVID happening, because he was real good at bringing the team together, keeping the team tight, and he couldn't really do that with all the COVID restrictions. It didn't play into his favor. So I know for him, I'm just more so excited just to see just where he goes and how, if he get another head coaching job, where that would be, because he is a good head coach.
Landon, I want to ask you this. Nick Sirianni, first-year head coach here in Philadelphia. What was it like meeting him, and what are your first impressions of your new head coach?
So I'm really excited. He's, obviously it's a new head coaching job, new situation to step into, but he's got a great attitude when it comes to how he's going to approach it. I mean, he's a very team-first oriented coach, which I think those are the special teams. It's what we had at Alabama whenever we have great teams. It's no matter how talented guys are, especially at this level. I mean, the top 10% of people, 10% either way physically, everybody's the same. So, it's really about those teams that are really, a family. They're all connected as one, and they just love to play football, and they love to play for each other. So that's what he's all about, and that's what I'm really excited about, because those teams are special teams, and those teams win a lot of football games. So he's got a great approach, in my opinion, of what he's doing. He's going about it the right way. We have a great offensive and defensive scheme in, a lot of tremendous players returning, a lot of talent, a lot of older guys that have experience. So I'm really excited about what this year holds for us.
Is it true you did beat him in rock, paper, scissors?
Yes.
What'd you throw first?
It's tough. It's been a while. I honestly don't remember.
You just blacked out and went in the zone of rock, paper, scissors and took care of business?
I think it just pure competitiveness. I was like, I'm not going to lose this. It's made me, and I don't get drafted by these guys.
And then you can't enjoy the fine meals in Philadelphia, and you can't get a nice Philadelphia parking ticket. So it all leads.
Exactly. Everything worked out in the end.
I want to ask you about your two other Alabama teammates real quick. Behind the scenes, you've talked about them a little bit in Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith. What's something you could tell us about Devontae Smith that we might not know already?
I feel like a lot of social media perception of him is he's kind of like quiet and reserved, but Smitty's a funny guy. I don't know if you guys will see it, but I've seen it. Smitty's a character. He's a funny dude.
Like he's a prankster, or he's got one-liners. What kind of funny is he?
He's got some good one-liners. I'll say that. He knows when to use them. They're kind of few and far between, but he's got some good ones now. So
and Jalen Hurts. What can you tell us about Jalen Hurts behind the scenes?
Jalen's the same way. He's a great dude, great teammate, funny guy. I didn't have a whole lot of interaction with him because he left Alabama right when I came in there. So really just kind of I'm getting to know him now, really just like everybody else is.
But what are your impressions of the new coaching staff as well as Landon Dickerson himself?
Well, it was just a little function that they had to try to, I guess, get some of the legends in there to talk to them and about their experiences, about what it's like to play in Philly. Because, playing in Philly, it really is a special place, and you don't really get that understanding through. It's really hard to just grasp the understanding of what it's like to play in Philly. So I think what they're trying to do is just, give the guys a heads up before they have to experience it, how intense it can be, how loyal the fan base can be, but how like critical and truthful that they can be as well. And just the ups and downs. But, the main thing is if you bust your ass, then the city's going to love you, and I think that that's really what it comes down to is a matter of effort. And, I thought that Landon is definitely a character. I got to talk to him for a little bit. I talked to a couple of the young guys, and they just picked my brain about playing different positions and stuff like that, because obviously that's, I guess, what I'm known for. Jack of all, master of none, right?
Yeah.
But it was good to hear them. They seemed, to be receptive to, what I had to say, and they're big kids. I'm looking forward to seeing them out there. They're going to have a lot of fun this year. The coaching staff is very energetic, very young. They seem like they're creating a nice atmosphere up there, and it's exciting. I try to keep my finger on the pulse and get my foot in the door up there and pop in and see what's going on whenever I can. And this was a good trip, the most recent one. It's positive.
What was Nick Sirianni like with the alumni? Or I'm sorry, the legends.
Yeah, I don't know why they give us that tag, but Sirianni was cool. I mean, he was very welcoming. Let us know that he's very happy and thankful for us to come and share a message with the kids, and then also just wanted to let us know as as alumni and stuff that he'd love to have us around and just be around the facility, and he thinks that's important for the organization and for the young kids and just the culture to be able to carry it over from year to year. Franchise to franchise, I mean, decade to decade, generation, stuff like that.
That's awesome. And definitely important, and obviously something that Eagles fans would love to hear. When it comes to Landon Dickerson, he was on this show a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him the question I think we ask every offensive lineman that's at all versatile. Where do you like to play? If it was up to you, where do you want to play? Where would you play? He said, hey, I just want to play, which is the perfect answer for any rookie to give at any point. But do you believe that everybody, and did you have a position on the offensive line that you particularly liked playing?
Yeah, I think that I had probably a position that I wanted to play, a position I was best at, and then I think that there was a position that they played me at. So I think like most people that have gotten a taste of tackle want to play left tackle, especially when I was playing. That's where the big checks were being cashed. So that was always, I felt like I was a left tackle, because when I was playing, the left tackle was lauded as the most athletic guy on the team and the leader, the anchor of the offensive line and all that stuff. So I just wanted to wear that crown, Turned out I wasn't built like an NFL left tackle, so I kind of had to get over that. And I fit in better inside. I think that, my best position was probably left guard, But then out of like necessity and stuff, I ended up bouncing around to right tackle and right guard and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So do you think Landon does have a position that he is hoping he actually starts playing for the Eagles?
Well, I'm not sure. I think that he probably has a favorite that eventually he would want to settle in as, but I think right now he just wants to get out there, probably, and just interact, with the starters, just see like, how they handle themselves in the NFL, stuff like that, just being able to be on the field with Kelce. I feel like you could absorb so much knowledge and just about what's going on and stuff. Being on the field with someone like Brandon that is able to like just be such a beast, but he composes himself, so well. And also just straight across the board, Lane is obviously a character, but he's also very good at his position. So, there's a lot of things that you could take from being out there. I mean, sometimes you got to be in the battle out there to be able to absorb that,
And on the other side of this, Jalen Hurts, was able to play a couple of games at the end of last year. I thought showed a lot of promise early and then kind of waned by the end of the season, by the time things wrapped up. What were your impressions of Jalen Hurts?
So my impressions of Jalen Hurts is on this wise, Marc. Jalen Hurts has a natural feel for this game. You're going to get explosive plays. You're going to get a guy that's never going to, fold in the moment. That's just not his personality. He's the most confident person in the room. That's just his personality. He's not the loudest talker, but he's definitely the most confident person in the room. So his mistakes had to do with him not knowing the system, which is expected, right?
Sure.
So his mistakes had nothing to do with just misreading things. He was on the wrong. Like when I say, if he knew what he was doing, it was a completion. If he didn't know what he was doing, that's when the scrambling, where people are open and things like that occurred. And that just happened. That comes with every young quarterback. And the other thing too, I'll say about Jalen Hurts is that if you look at his interceptions, they're not necessarily that bad. The one to Ertz, Ertz got to fight for that ball a little bit more. You can't give up interception on a one-on-one coverage. It's just on a slant route. It's just that should not happen. He wasn't anticipating that. And the other ones, he just throws the ball away. So his completion percentage was down. If you don't have anybody to throw the ball to, or you don't know the offense, instead of putting it in harm's way a lot, you just throw the ball away. And so I respected that a bunch, actually.
Yeah, and one of the things I like from Jalen Hurts, if I don't know the play, I'll make the play. And I like that about him.
It's been a couple of weeks with Nick Sirianni, a couple of months actually with Nick Sirianni. How do you think he's doing so far as the new head coach? How is he relating to the locker room?
He's doing great. I mean, I think that everything's been a lot of fun so far. Obviously we've only been out there in shorts and T-shirts, but the energy's there. There's a lot of good enthusiasm in the building. So it's been a lot of fun getting to know all those guys and just being back around the team.
I know that you just talked about a lot of this stuff with Carson Wentz and kind of the state of the Eagles right now. I am curious just to get your overall take. With Carson being traded, it looks like Jalen Hurts is going to be the guy, at least right now, maybe not forever, but right now at least seems to be the guy they're going to be betting on. We'll see what happens in the draft. But right now, Quentin Michael, what's the state of the Birds in your opinion?
Well, it's really weird. It's uncharted territory. I think this is the first time since Chip Kelly was the head coach, where you're not really sure what's going to happen. You kind of had an idea when Doug was coach. You obviously knew when Andy was coach what you were going to expect, and you had an idea a little bit of what Chip was bringing to the table. So, but like right now with Nick Sirianni, there's not much known about him. I'm hoping it's all good things. There's tons of holes on this team, and it's gonna be a different role for us Eagle fans. So it's actually a good time for guys like us that want to talk about it and figure out where we're headed. But as a fan, it's like, okay, I don't know where we're going, man. I don't know. So. But yeah, with Carson, it kind of had to happen at this point. And it looks like it kind of worked out on the outset for both parties. And we're excited for Jalen and what he can bring to the table and looking forward to it.
Yeah, my take on that whole thing was people looked at some of the return, and they looked at possibly getting a first-round pick or getting that second-round pick and a third-round pick, depending on what happens with Carson in Indianapolis. But I look at it as it was already a failure. You drafted him to be the franchise quarterback for the foreseeable future, and obviously he's not that. And we saw things really diminish from the MVP caliber year that he had to present day. So I'd like to say, oh, at least they got this in return, but ultimately I look at what they didn't get when they traded up from 13-8 to 2 in order to take Carson Wentz when you were actually just joining the Birds in the more of the front office range.
Yeah, and that's a tough thing is I think that does get lost is what was given up to get him and what was expected of him. And it's funny, we kind of talked about that as well with, Jared Goff and Carson, both guys that teams made huge moves to get them. And then couple of years later, less than 5 years later, they're on different teams. So, or less than 6 years later, they're on different teams. So, it's really it's unfortunate because I do think that Carson, he's still going to be a very good player. I just don't think that it was the right fit here in the city, and it obviously quickly soured over the last year. And there's multiple reasons why, and it's unfortunate. But I do think that the Eagles, in the end, they did the best that they could by trading him and putting him in a situation where for him it's gonna work out for him, and if that does, it works out better for us. So, more. I wish him a lot of luck, and I think he's gonna do just fine in Indy.
When you said that there's a lot of holes here to fill in Philadelphia, it sounds like we're going to be set for a bit of a retooling, at least probably a rebuilding. How long do you think that'll take? Any idea?
No clue.
Ballpark it for me.
I'm hoping somewhere around 3 years we'll start to see a turnaround, and I think the biggest way to do that is to start by getting solid draft picks and then sprinkling in some good vets here, some free agent signings, and making sure that we're surrounding Jalen Hurts. If you're going to build on one side of the ball, if it's going to be on the offense or if it's going to be on defense, one thing you have to do is if you're building around Jalen Hurts, you got to get him some weapons and you got to get him some protection. All right, so. If that's the case where that's how we're going, let's go all in, and defense will have to catch up eventually. But I think if your move is to keep Jalen and to move him into that spot, you have to surround him with some weapons and let's make sure that he's able to lead this team.
Absolutely. And Quinn, when I'm looking at everything that's gone on with Jalen Hurts over this past year and the small sample size, I hate to go with I don't know, and I hate to go with we'll see. But how confident are you that he can be the guy at least this year and then prove that he can be a franchise guy going forward?
Yeah, I have a ton of confidence in him, and I just and really I don't know the guy personally, but just seeing his story and seeing what he's been through, the ups and downs of his career, and even now, I mean, he's still in battle. He's still dealing with, quote unquote QB controversy and stuff. And the guy just keeps fighting. And that's, especially in this city, that's something that you want. You want a guy that's going to put the team on his back, that's going to say, you know what, no matter what happens in this game, I'm going to go out there and give my team the best shot to win. And he's got the right mentality. Obviously, he's not there yet. He's still young. But if you can get a couple players here and there, you get a couple linemen, I mean, he's not going to be drop back Tom Brady type quarterback. He's going to be able to use his feet. So, just let's give him a little bit of time. Let's build some weapons, give him some weapons, and let's see where he goes.
Exactly.
So I want to move on and talk some football with you. First, you have played for a series of first-year head coaches. Here in Philadelphia, Chip Kelly was a first-time NFL head coach, obviously coached in college. Doug Peterson here in Philadelphia, I believe Sean McVay as well. Gary Kubiak was young in his years, new in his years, I should say, coaching the Houston Texans. As a player in a new setting with a new head coach, is it at the front of your mind to adapt to whatever the coach is looking to do with the lineup?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Like, there's an opportunity for first-year head coaches because, everybody's ready to listen. You know what I mean? People are excited. A head coach has to kind of bring that excitement, which the coaches I've played for did a great job of doing that. But I've always thought that, people kind of are worried about first-year head coaches. But there's also an opportunity there where, players are excited and it's kind of a clean slate in some ways for everybody. And so you're not going to be judged on what maybe you did in the past. You're going to be judged on what you do every single day moving forward. And so that's an opportunity for teams and first-year head coaches to kind of set things right, so to speak.
Connor Barwin joining the show here on the Zados Investments guest line. Connor, I know you're working for the team now. You're working for the team in the front office, so I know you can't give me game plan or anything like that. But what has jumped out to you in your early impressions of Nick Sirianni?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Thank you for saying that. I can't really get into too much, but I will say, I'm super excited about Nick and the staff he's brought in. I mean, I think as a head coach, you've got to know the X's and O's, which that's been clear. I've seen that since being around here. You've got to love the work. I think these guys are working their tails off every day. I'm up here with them. And then there's just, there's good, new, young energy. Everybody's excited. I'm excited. Nick has a lot of energy about him. The staff has a lot of energy. So there's just a lot of excitement around the building, and we're excited to get started.
We had Brandon Graham on last week, and he's just a fun guy to talk to. That energy never leaves him. And you were here, obviously, playing with him. You were both asked to be linebackers and then back to DN, and it was moving all over the place. When you see a guy like Brandon Graham still hold on to that type of energy, what do you think?
Well, I think BG is a lesson for all of us, a reminder for all of us what just, having a positive attitude can do for your life. I mean, he early in his career, he had ups and downs. Later in his career, he's had ups and downs like we all do. But, he has such a positive attitude that it's made a difference for him. People love him around this building. I love playing for him. I love working with him now. And I think it helps him compete at a high level, even as he gets older in his career.
And Zach, obviously in Philadelphia right now, we're going through this transition. And I know a big question here in Philly has been about Jalen Hurts. Is he Mr. Right or Mr. Right now? Is he the franchise guy going forward? In your time with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, who do you think we have here in Philadelphia as a quarterback in Jalen Hurts?
I mean, obviously I'm not the one making the decisions, but the one thing I'll say about Jalen is that he works his butt off. That's something that always resonated with me, just the way he was always willing to put in work. Whenever I wanted to work out or train, he was right there with me. And so I don't know what the future holds, but the one thing I always respected about Jalen was his ability to work and his work ethic, because he wants to be great. And at the end of the day, I could respect that as a player.
How about that groundbreaking outside? Yeah. I would love to say that it's just the beginning, but this thing started a long, long time ago. The assets that the Ertzes have been to Philadelphia, there's not enough adjectives in our language to describe how great they have been to our community and how much they want to make sure this city keeps on progressing to reach its full potential. And this place right here, House of Hope, is only going to make Philadelphia more of a home to so many people in our community. So give it up for that.
We come up in a generation, if you understand this culture, that says that you need to make it in the hood so that you can leave the hood. We changed that narrative. We said we want you to be in the hood, get trained up in the hood. If you need to leave for a short time, but we want you to come back to the hood to transform this place. That's what this thing is about. That's what the buy-in is.
This is the heart of the city. And I believe until we heal, then the rest of the city is not going to heal. Until we begin to take care and address some of the ills in this community, nothing's going to happen. Everything starts from the heart and it radiates outward. So I am honored and pleased and grateful for this opportunity for us to move forward and for the real work to begin. And
when we got here, they said, hey, we have this building, we have this vision. They had the energy, they had everything, but they said, we don't really know how to take those next steps with the city and the permitting and pretty much all of that stuff. And we said, hey, this is what we do for a living. We would love to take our skill, our knowledge, and really give back to the city that we build in, the city we live in, and the city that we love. So.
We always talked about this. And I would sit in these meetings and they would say, Leo, what is your goal for Team Hotel? And I would always say, we need a resource center. We need a one-stop shop. We need a spot where kids can come, where they can eat, where they can pray, where they can talk about their problems, where they can get homework done, where we can help them prepare for their interviews that come in, or we can create resume, we can connect them with employment, we could connect them with military, we could connect them with any academic programs that could help further their education. And fast forward, here we are today.
I mean, this has been that proverbial, if they build it, if we build it, they will come. No, they're here. They've come. They're waiting for this project to be finished and the doors to be open. And what I see is every single one of these kids that I hear about and read about could be my son. And by the grace of God go I, that I raised my children to grow up and to be fine and not be on the streets, not losing their lives. This is what we have to do here.
Interesting enough, back in the spring, I text Zach and I said, this was right as he was going through a lot of stuff. And I said, yo, man, just trust in the Lord. And I sent him Proverbs 3. If you have your Bibles, write that in your mental Rolodex. Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6. It says this, trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understandings. And in all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. This dude texts me back. He's like, you got to be kidding me. He's like, that's our memory verse for the year. I had no clue. And from that point on, I said, man, that's what this is about. We can't talk about hope if I don't know how to what? Trust in the Lord with all of my heart.
How do we do more? How do we help more? How do we get more involved in this great community? And Zach famously said in his press conference when he was leaving Philadelphia before he was traded to the Cardinals, he said, this is home. Philadelphia is home.
We're here to build a legacy in Philadelphia because we love Julie, we love Zach, and I really don't care if he plays for the Eagles or the Cardinals or where he plays. What I care about is he's impactful here. And so it's funny, you know, that,
So we just want to thank everybody here today. Thank you. God bless you guys. Without Christ, none of this would be possible.
No, absolutely. And I love that you just said that. It's not old school, it's good school. Because I remember specifically you saying that a lot about Chase Utley when you were managing him here in Philadelphia. You mentioned a couple of guys that played for you. I've had the opportunity to interview some of the guys that played for you, Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Brad Lidge being another one. His highlight is how much of a player's manager you were and how you managed each guy individually because you just knew their personality and knew what they needed to hear. What makes, in your opinion, Charlie, what makes a good player's manager? What makes that guy that can just tap into the talents of a particular player as often as you were able to do?
I think getting to know them is a big thing. Communication. I think they got to get to know you. And I think you got to be very honest to them. And what happens is people don't, I don't think they really realize, you know, like how honest I was toward them. And also, but at the same time, too, I think players nowadays definitely have to be disciplined. And, you know, like in some time, you know, like it gets into, you know, like a kind of a harsh situation. But at the same time, you can work them out just by being very firm and honest and also respecting that guy to be honest with you, if that makes sense. But working them every day is part of it. You know, like to me, the personality of a guy, you know, like, and, you know, like I'm going to talk about things that he's interested in and how to get to him. And, you know, like, and I'm going to be very honest with him. You know, like some guys I can hit on. Raul's one of them. You know, I can stand there and hit on. He'll hit me back and things like that. And there's some guys, you know, like that you got to kind of coddle and things like that. But you got to be mental tough to play the game. So why shouldn't I want to teach that as I'm coaching someone? And, you know, like winning a baseball game, you know, like when we had a great bunch of guys, I've always said that. But winning a baseball game, you know, like we come to the ballpark every day to win. I mean, and nobody was looking for me to rest them. You know, like the trainer would come in there a lot of times and tell me that this guy needs rest, and I would hear him. But at the same time, that game was more important to me than that one guy resting. I'm gonna try to find another game or somewhere down the road to rest him. And if I don't find that road, you know, like he might end up playing 162.
Was it more difficult to tell Roy Halladay he was coming out of a game, or was it more difficult to tell Chase Utley he was getting a day off?
I think I think actually at the start probably Utley.
Okay.
Utley getting a day off, you know, like he definitely didn't. He never wanted the day off. And sometimes I would, hey, look, it got a little a little nasty every now and then because, like I just finally have to say, well, you're resting today whether you like it or not, going out there and sit down, like it. And he'd look at me and he wouldn't say nothing, but you could tell he wanted to. But
you let him say his piece. You let him say his piece. Understood. As far as the defense goes, we've heard from your defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, many times that he doesn't necessarily have a scheme. He has things he likes to do, but as a defense, can you give us a little bit more detail on that rhythm, on that play calling, if you will, from a defensive perspective?
Well, from a philosophy standpoint, the defense is geared around, taking away or limiting, explosive plays, down the field. Strategically, it's a great idea because too many of those explosive plays lead to, touchdowns, as you would say. So, just trying to limit those and, make the offense, kind of earn it, in that aspect. So, I mean, when you really look at it, it's very genius when you look at it. Just a few couple things that, we all have to improve on.
So let me ask, because you've encountered so many athletes, these types of athletes really amaze me.
Yeah.
Though I refer to them as whatever dudes.
Okay.
And they're not just dudes, but they're whatever dudes. It's like, hey, we're going to trade for Deshaun Watson. All this talk is out there. All the speculation is out there. What do you think about it? Whatever, dude.
Whatever.
It doesn't phase them. And it's not that they don't care.
Right.
It's just that they don't let it get to them. They're only worried about things that affect them directly, only controlling what they can control. And Jalen Hurts, to me, with how he's handled everything to this point, he seems to be a whatever dude type of guy.
I agree, and I think he has to take that approach. I mean, he's going to do what he does to the best of his ability. It's either going to work or it's not going to work, and all you can say is, okay, I gave him my best shot, And if he spends more time looking over his shoulder, he's not going to be able to handle the task ahead of him to the best of his ability. So if I'm this young man. And, I think when we were 23, 24, well, we were both knuckleheads back then, but that's another story.
Did we ever grow up?
I haven't. My family still asks me, what is wrong with you? I don't know. How am I supposed to know? I can't figure it out. Just accept me. Embrace me for who I am and what I am. That's all, Yeah, that works for about 2 minutes.
Right.
But, that's a lot of pressure to put on any young man, especially playing in a national spotlight. Week in and week out, and being besieged by questions from one of the largest, if not the largest media contingent in the National Football League. That's a lot to put on a young man's plate. But hopefully he's mature enough to handle. Everything I've heard about him is he's got unbelievable maturity and poise and confidence in himself. That's all you can have. It's the perfect ingredients going into what he's about to go into.
You mentioned building the team and all that stuff. The guy that is charged with building the team is Howie Roseman, and The Athletic polled 23 agents, all right, around the league, and asked them various questions. One of them was, who's the least trustworthy general manager or director of player personnel, whatever it might be. And I believe Howie Roseman finished first, getting 7 votes as the least trustworthy general manager, followed by Bill Belichick, and then Joe Douglas followed.
Wow.
What do you make of Howie Roseman being the least trustworthy GM according to agents around the NFL?
Well, that just goes to show, man, either he's doing something very, very good, number one, or, he's not worth a bag of rocks, But I just think it's the latter of the two. I think Howie is a guy that, of course, he's dealing with guys that are untrustworthy. So if he's on top of the most untrustworthy, maybe he's doing something a little right, because the things that you really fault Howie in are, basic premises on keeping guys around a little longer than they're supposed to be. And I was one of those guys you kept, that they would keep around, older player. And he's too loyal to his players. So in that capacity, with the exception of Zach Ertz, that's my, outlier right there.
Gotcha. I understand.
But he kept, guys around and extended their careers way longer than they should have, Jason Peters around here a lot longer than he should have been. A lot of Alshon was hurt, and he was around a lot longer than he should have been. He gave D Jackson another shot. Those are older players that guys are like, why are you signing him back? Well, he's loyal to those guys, so he brought them back, So in that capacity, he's great from a player's point of view. He brought in Alshon when he was the best free agent wide receiver in the league. And then once he went out there and established himself, signed him to a deal. He said he was going to do it, and he did it. So the players, it seems like he was a good dude. But, non-players, the agents that he had to work these contracts in, yeah, I can see him being a guy that'd be tough to work with, very tough to work with.
I'll tell you, I mean, once you see him at number one, you're like, oh, yeah, he's untrustworthy. And then you see Bill Belichick, and you're like, all right, maybe it's a good thing to be to be somebody who's not trustworthy.
Look at Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas he just pulled out the trade of the century, getting Jamal Adams out of there. He didn't want to be there and got all those first-round picks for him. So, I mean, he did his job. We got Carson out of here. They got a song and a dance for him, but it might come up to be, a first-round pick for him. So, at the end of the day, Howie is just like any other GM. You know what I mean?
You just said the name again, by the way. That's 3-time Carson, man. You just said it.
Dude, it almost came up, bro. It almost came up. I had to stop myself, man.
We talk a lot about mental health, and I've talked about this on the show as well. We talk about people, hey, you know what? Mental health, and we hope everyone has good mental health. I do always take time, and Giannis Antetokounmpo is another example of this. I take time to pat guys on the back that show their mental strength as somebody that we can look up to. And I think Jalen Hurts is a very mentally tough individual.
Everything that he's been through in college, even in the draft, even coming here to Philadelphia, has kind of honed him for this sort of – listen, Philadelphia isn't for everybody. We've seen guys that stay here the rest of their lives. We've seen the Brandon Grahams of the world, the Lane Johnson, the Brian Dawkins, the so on and so forth throughout Eagles history, right? We've also seen guys that just can't handle this city. And I think everything that he's gone through has really kind of honed him to be – a Philadelphia Eagle.
I hope so.
Uniquely a Philadelphia Eagle.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. And that kind of brings me to we all got a little bit more of that normal back with the NBA season coming back. And although it ended with disappointment, 7 games against the Hawks, I was in the building for the game, my friend, and it was a great crowd up until I want to say the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter when you just felt like there was going to be a run. And then the play happened with Ben Simmons not dunking the basketball with 3:30 left, and we've all talked about it ad nauseum. But what I want to talk about is what's going forward with this team. When it comes to Ben Simmons, do you see him returning to the Sixers next year, a better version of himself, offensively speaking, foul shooting, mid-range game, or do you see him returning to the Sixers as the same version of the player that he is right now?
So let's travel back. So Ben has never been a perimeter-oriented person. He's never have been, but in high school and in college and in NBA rookie camp, summer league, he was shooting jump shots.
I love that. Yeah,
he was doing that, and then it seemed like every year he was shooting less and less to the point he refused to shoot any. And that, to me, I think that takes some time to recover from because I think that's more mental than physical. He was capable to shoot the mid range. He never was a 3-point shooter, but he was able to shoot the mid range. But then going from shooting quite few to shooting 0, I started scratching my head like this is going to be a tough hill to climb back up. So I'm hoping he returns as a different player, meaning the same kind of skill with more confidence, just jacking up and not caring if it goes in or goes out or misses. Just having the ability and the confidence to shoot it, to make people respect you enough to guard you, to open the floor up, and to help the team win. I don't think I'm alone in this boat. We're saying this team could only go for so far if one of your star players refuses to shoot the ball.